welcome back. Time to dial some cams in. So there's the cams out of the boxes. Just another little bit of a tip. People think because something's in a plastic bag that it comes ready to throw in your motor, and they cleaned it all at the factory. They did it. So that's just one quick brake clean with a bit of a wipe over that rag. I'll do it probably another 1 or 2 times to make sure there's nothing on there. So just because it looks all pretty in the bag doesn't mean it's clean. Make sure you clean it before you put it in, otherwise that shit goes everywhere. So we found our true top dead center. I won't go into detail how you find that. Plenty of way better videos out there than what I'll ever be able to do to tell you how to do this. But that's step one. Cams are in. All these bolts are tied into the Torque Specs drag cartel given me. Now drag cartel in the last video, I said they never gave me a card, spec card for these cams. I had to email them and they've emailed me lobe centers that I'm going to set these up to. So a little bit slack there. I reckon they should definitely throw a card in just to stop the hassle of people having to contact them about this stuff. I had to get the Kiwi back out of me for this one. It's probably the wrong way of doing it, but it's all solid, it's not going anywhere. It's just to give us a spot to mount the dial indicator. Now it looks like it's close to that cam lobe, but I've checked it all, so as it comes around, it's got heaps of clearance. So now we can start dialing in the intake cam. Probably see how much lift it's got too. Well, that's the cams all dialed in, a little bit of mucking around, bit of maths here, everywhere, shit everywhere, but we got there. So what we found, the exhaust cam was 7 degrees out and the intake cam was 3.5. So it was pretty easy, but it just goes to show, guys, that just setting them up on the 0 marks there. See, we're off to the left-hand side now. Your cams are out of fair way, a lot of the time. So sometimes that can be caused by the cam manufacturer themselves, but usually what happens is by the time we start machining bits off heads, decking blocks when we fit sleeves or just tidying up the block surface, the distance changes from the crank center line to the cam center line. So obviously that chain has got to take up slack, so the gears start moving around. So that's what puts it all out. So you got to make sure you dial them things in, especially when you're sort of chasing as much power as you can. It's free power at the end of the day. A lot of the times we take our top dead center mark on our crank for granted, especially when we do our base timing before we tune stuff. Right, everything's in there, everything's tightened up, I've double checked everything, I've done my valve clearances, I set the exhaust at 10, thou the intake at 8. Loctited these front screws just to make sure, because I get paranoid about shit like that. Gone over everything 2 times now, so hopefully it's going to stay in there. The new improved sump is on. Hopefully this sump does its job. I'm sure it will. Oh, my day just got better. I got more lollies and they're nice. I've still got my M&Ms in there. I had these other things before that come with another part. I can't remember what that was, but it's definitely from America. But PRP, this is an Australian mob. They've copied the trend. If I stop making videos, I know the reason why. It's because I ate something in a package that I shouldn't have. Righto, so what we've got here are some R35 GDR coils. They come with these things here, you can cut down and do all sorts of things. Comes with a mounting plate. You can actually buy it with a full wiring harness if you want. They're not a bad kit. The only thing I remember last time, these boots used to get stuck, and I'd even put some like rubber grease on them that still get stuck in these holders. So we'll see how we go this time. So you get this piece here, you just sit it there like a bloody glove. It's the coil sitting in there now, just filling up the holes. So we're looking like a motor. We're ready to have another go at it. Bit of bad luck to start our drag racing career, but shit happens.
When we first originally went and did a test day before Jamboree, he had a little speed factory intercooler on the car that he had on the Integra prior to this car. And we were seeing massive intake temps with it. So we sort of patched it up with this. I think it was Thursday night, and we tested again on Friday. this was better. I guess it did about 80 degrees at full track and about 40 pounds of boost, whereas the other one was the same intake temps at half track, and then from then on it just pulls out heaps of ignition timing and you lose a heap of power. Ideally, I'd try to get my hands on one of these at that time, which is a Garrett cooler core, and I use these now whenever I do custom cores. These are by far the most superior core that I've ever used. But yeah, at that time I couldn't get one, so we just had to patch it up with this one that we just had lying around the shop. It's meant for a GDR, but we just molested the end tanks to suit what we needed to do with it. So yeah, I've sort of rolled and folded and cut out the shape of the tank that I want to do for this, because this is a rear entry, rear exit intercooler, 115 mil thick, so this just should flow and cool way better. They're actually quite agricultural looking there. All the tubes and stuff, they individually welded in. But yeah, like I said, I've used these in the past and they work amazing. All right, got both tanks made, ready to weld them on now. As you can see, there's a third hole in the tank there. I'll go a bit more into that after I weld it all together, and I'll explain why. But yeah, ready to weld them on. Alrighty, so I got this thing all welded out. All the tanks are welded on. As you can see, it's fed in from the backside, returns back to the engine from the backside. I'm just waiting for some clamps from a Vibram order. If you can see, there's just holes there, but once they come, I'll get them all welded on. But yeah, the intercooler fills the front end pretty nicely. That third hole that I was talking about on the tank was for the blow-off valve. We use Turbo Smart power port, especially on drag racing applications and stuff, because these have pressure under and on top of the dome. You run them through a MAC valve and you can bleed off boost pressure if you need to or whatever, so it's very good for boost control strategies. Alrighty, Sunday, thought I'd come in just for a couple of hours to get a few things done. I've got the manifold all welded out. I got a bit carried away, so I didn't take any videos while I was doing it. You can see there. So today I just mainly came in just so I can put this thing in the mill and deck the face, because they generally warp a little bit, especially K series, as they only have 5 bolt holes that hold the whole manifold on, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Normal other cars sort of have 2 per cylinder, so weld the EGTs and EMAP on. And then I forgot during the week to get a wastegate flange, so I'll do that tomorrow, and then yeah, by tomorrow hopefully the exhaust manifold will be fully finished, and then I'll show you what we're going to do for a dump pipe. You put a GM style power glide in here, the adapter plate comes out so wide in these little cars that it pretty much touches the rail, and you know, we have to run a 4-inch dump pipe now, and you physically can't, nothing fits in there, and obviously you can't take any of the block out or anything like that. So we have to go through this side here, and obviously that doesn't fit through there either. So I'm gonna have to notch the chassis rail for the dump pipe. And yeah, so that'll be a tomorrow job probably, I'd say too. I mean, realistically, a 3.5-inch dump pipe would probably get the job done, but I'd rather it be over dump pipe than under dump pipe, just in case. But yeah, I'll get to it and I'll take a video of it when it's in the mill. Alrighty, so I got the manifold in the jig on the mill here. It looks a bit ghetto, but it gets the job done. I mean, these things, it looks shit, but I just modify them every time I do a manifold basically. Well, sometimes you get lucky and it works. Obviously every manifold is different height, different size, runners come out different places. I don't know, this just works for me, and it's relatively quick to set up in the mill. Right, so I just did a very light pass, and you can clearly see like where, you know, there's high and low points throughout the flange deck itself. So like through here and here and here. So, you know, a lot of people might make exhaust manifolds and stuff, but if you don't deck them in some sort of way, you know, this can create exhaust leaks and stuff like that. I mean, the K series is probably one of the worst ones. I mean, you can do RB ones and stuff. I've done plenty of times, but they bolt down a lot better than these do. But yeah, mainly, specifically these, you have to do this, otherwise you end up with this sort of stuff. So second pass done. You can clearly see there's a lot more shiny surface now. Let's get the light. So yeah, obviously this is still sunken down a bit, and here. So I think I should probably get that in one more pass, and then that's all done. As you can see, it's all shiny, no high-low points, so it'll have a full 100% sealing surface. So yeah, definitely no blowing out gaskets. All right, now I'm on to, I was welding some EGTs in the EMAP port, and then that'll be me for the day, I think. All right, so got all the EGTs and the EMAP sensor welded on. Tomorrow I just have to go get some wastegate flanges and I can put the wastegate on for good, and then the manifold's completely done. So a couple reasons why, I'll go into a bit more depth now, why I went to Pro Mod manifold. So because of the width of that, obviously we can't get the dump pipe down there, so I need them, like these Pro Mod manifolds, they sort of tuck right into the engine. Traditionally, like a normal rear drive manifold, the dump pipe will come out and go down, so you have all this area down here that you can sweep a manifold up in or whatever. But this one, because we need to get the dump pipe straight down and through there, obviously I needed the manifold to tuck over as close as it could to the engine. And the other thing is that we have the world's biggest wastegate, which is about 3 stories tall, and with the Pro Mod manifold as well, you get very good wastegate flow. As you can see, you come sort of directly off the collector, and the flow goes straight into the wastegate. So that's another reason we want good boost control on this thing, obviously because we've got start line stuff and we're on a little tire, so we don't want like a minimum of 25 or pounds or whatever, we want good wastegate flow. So yeah, I'll wrap that up tomorrow, and then I'll get notching on this rail and get a dump pipe and scramble pipe and stuff in there, and yeah, anyway, I'm going home to spend some time with my family, so see you tomorrow.